Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System. And we're going to make some earrings today. This all started because I saw a picture of some what I thought were some really pretty earrings. And I hope you can see this. Oh gosh, I can't see it. Maybe you'll be able to see it on the other camera. I'm just kidding. Oh, no, there they are. Anyway, I saw a picture of these earrings and I thought they were so pretty. Now, granted, everything on here is prefab and the loops are soldered and all of that, but I thought we can recreate that, right? We can find a way to do it. And so I set about just taking my wire and trying to make the loops and make the shape and everything that I needed to recreate that picture. And yes, we can do it. So that is one of the pairs of earrings that we're going to make today. I don't know why I'm holding it like that. Where's my ear wire? Oh, I took it out. Anyway, yes, that's it. I'll go ahead and put one in. But that's one of the earrings that I thought we would make. And then I thought, well, while we're at it, why not make some other shapes? So I did some other shapes. I did this one. I just kind of tossed that off, just made a diamond shape. Same premise with the little beads in the center, but just made it a diamond. And then I thought, okay, we usually do 3, so we'll try to do 1 more if this doesn't take forever, because I know people say, I usually don't like to watch really long videos. So we will be doing 2, at least 2, and possibly 3 pairs of earrings, depending on how quickly I can work through the process today. Well, it's going to be very easy because you don't need, I may as well leave them on, you already saw them. So because you really, the only things that you need are 20 gauge wire, or you can use 18 gauge wire, but I was sticking with 20 gauge all the way through because we're going to be making our own eye pins and ear wires. So that's the easiest way to do it. Of course, the frames of the earrings are going to be made by us as well. So I thought we would just run 20 gauge all the way through. It is firm enough to hold the shape with no problem. But if you would rather use 18 gauge for your frames and then go to 20 gauge for everything else, that's entirely up to you. We're using 20 gauge wire today, as well as an assortment of beads. And that is pretty much it. Oh, head pins. We need a couple of head pins because the dangle that I put on the bottom, and you don't have to dangle something, but I thought I wanted to really emulate that picture. The dangle on the bottom will require a head pin. So that's what we have going today. Beads, 20 gauge wire, head pins, and your usual tools, round nose pliers, square or chain nose pliers, and cutters, and a ruler to measure your wire. That's all we need today. And so let's get started and see what we can do. So here we are. We're going to start with this one. This one that we're making. Let me get that up there. There we go. To glare, 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 glare. Like this picture. That's what we're going to make. So let's do this. So the first thing that we need to do is cut our wire. And it depends on how big you want your earrings to be. My earrings ended up being approximately 2 inches from the top ring, or I'm sorry, 2.5 inches from the top ring to the dangle at the bottom. And they're very, very lightweight. I mean, they're so lightweight, you can hardly tell that you have them on. It's really, really neat. So that's what we're going to do. So in order to make this, I need to make the 2 frames. And to start with, I needed 3 inches of wire in order to make the frame the size that I want. Now, again, you can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. But what you want to do is cut your wire at the same time for both earrings. And then that way you don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to be the right size. So I've already cut my wire. In order for me to end up with earrings that are 2.5 inches long, I needed to cut 2 3-inch pieces of wire for my frame for 1 earring. If you're doing 2 earrings, of course, you need to double that. So I got my 2 3-inch pieces of wire. And then the next thing I need is something to shape this. So I'm using it's just a rod that I had. You can use just a whatever kind of cylindrical item that you have that will support the shape and the size that you want. And I just had this little rod that I had sitting around that works perfectly. So the first thing I need to do is make my loop that's going to go in the center. So I want to find the center of my wire, and you can eyeball it, or like me, I like to do either. So I just need 1.5 inches in the center. There we go. And then I'm going to grasp that with my pliers. I don't need too big a loop, so I'm going to go ahead and slide that on to see where on my pliers I need to place my wire. And for me, it's about 1/4 of the way down. Okay, so I'm at my halfway point here. So I'm going to fold my wire over and check and make sure it's halfway. Yeah, it's pretty good. This one looks a teeny tiny bit longer than the other one. And in order to take care of that, I'm just going to fold that over a little more than I do the other one. So I'm just going to make my little loop here. I'm going to check it out, see if it looks like it matches the other one pretty well. Yes, it does. So then I'm going to take my flat pliers and just hold the loop and twist my wire just 1 time. Actually, I only need a half twist. So there we go. So now I have the loop on top. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Find my halfway point, which is 1.5 inches. Slide my wire down my pliers about 1/3 of the way for me, which is the same as my other one. Fold my wire over pliers, check and see if they're about the same length, which they are. This one's a teeny fraction longer. So I'm going to fold that over a little bit more than I do the other one, just to take care of that extra space. Okay, so there's my little loop. Check it against the other one just to make sure they look similar. And they do. Grab my square pliers, hold on to my loop, and give my wire a single half twist just to secure my loop. There we go. And now it's time to shape my frame. So I'm going to place it on whatever cylindrical item you're using to shape. And then I'm just going to bring the sides down around that item just to give it its form. There we go. And then you can use your fingers to make any adjustments that you need. Here we go, there's one. And the other one. Same thing, just bring both wires down and around this little rod that I have here to get the shape that I want. There we go. I'm going to check them against each other. Make whatever little adjustments I need to make with my fingers. I'm going to check it and see if they kind of match up here. And squeeze this one in a little bit tighter. Check again. Not too bad. There we go. Very nice. That up just a little bit. And again, you're just going to make whatever adjustments you need with your fingers. There we go. Very, very nice. Now, what I'm going to do is make my loops on the side. So I'm just going to take my pliers. I'm going to go down about, a quarter of the way down my wire, my pliers, because it doesn't have to be that big a loop. And I'm going to rotate outward to make my loop. So I'm grabbing the tip of my wire with the tip of my with my pliers about a third of the way down, or whatever size you want your loop to be. And then I'm going to rotate to make my loop when I can't go any further, and open it up and rotate back and twist until I have a nice loop. So there's my loop. And then I really don't want my loop to be completely over to the side. So I'm going to put my pliers back in just at the tip, and then rotate it back a little bit so I can bring my loop up more upright. And there we go. There's my loop. I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Now, when you're doing these, and you're doing both of them at the same time, you can just, do them both at the same time, and then you don't have to worry about matching anything up. Because I have this one already done, I have to make sure that the sizes match, and I'll be doing that in just a moment. So again, I'm going to slide my wire down to the place where I need to make my loop, which is about a quarter of the way down my pliers. Make sure none of my wire is sticking out the back of my pliers, and I'm going to start my loop. Rotate open and rotate back, and continue to rotate until I have my loop. Here we go. Very nice. Okay, and let's check. Let's check it out and see if it looks like it matches up with my other earring. So I can put both of them together and just make whatever adjustments I need to with my fingers. Go ahead and slide that in there. See what I can see. That's not too bad. It's pretty good. Make sure the length looks about the same. Oh, work with me here. I'm always talking to my wire. There. Yes, not bad, not bad at all. Can you see that? Are my fingers covering everything up? Probably. But yes, that's not bad. That's a very good likeness. A small adjustment down here, a little bit. For the most part, I think we are good to go. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay. Now over to the other one, and we'll do the same thing. Slide my wire down about a quarter of a way down my pliers. Grab that wire at the tip, make sure nothing's sticking out the back. Start my rotation and make my loop. Keep going until the tip backs up against the stem of my wire. There we go. Very nice. And do the same thing with the other side. Okay. Good. And then I need to rotate it back until my loop is upright again, like I did the other one, and I didn't do the second one, so I have to fix that. So there it's nicely upright so that it looks like this stem would go straight through to the top of my wire if we were to do that. Okay, there we go. Close that up. And there we have it. And I need to do that on the second loop that I made too. Bring that wire back till my loop is nicely upright. There we go. Nice. So let's take another look. And would you look at that? Where's my picture? Where is it? Where's my picture? Doesn't that look like that? Yee. Now all we need is to add our beads. And I'm using 6 millimeter rondelle beads just because I have those on hand and they're very pretty. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to make an eye pin in order to link these. And all I need for that, the easiest way to determine how much wire you need without too much waste, is to slide your bead on and then give yourself about about half an inch, 3/8 to half an inch on each side in order to make your loops. So that means that's going to be about an inch. So I need about an inch of wire. It might be a little too much, but I can just cut out whatever off whatever fraction I have, and it won't make me cry too much because it will just be a fraction. All right, so I'm going to make my loop on one end. It doesn't need to be huge, about the same size as the ones that I have on my frame. So I'm going to go down about a quarter of the way, grab my wire like I did with the frame to make a loop, and start my rotation, and just keep rotating until I have a closed in loop. There we go. Then I'm going to bend my loop back like I did the other one so that my loop is resting on top of my wire, and the stem looks like it's running right through the center. I have a nice upright loop. Here we go. I'm going to put my bead on. And remember I said we need about 3/8 to a half an inch. I can tell this is a little tiny bit more than I need, maybe 1/16 of an inch. So I'm just going to snip off that edge. Just snip off that end a little bit. Oh, and because this is such a tiny amount, I can't really hold on to it to keep it from flying across the room. So I just grab a spool, an empty spool, or a spool with some wire on it. And I turn my wire down, this little tip down, into the spool and cut it so that the tip falls down in there. And I don't have any wire flying across the room. I controlled the cut. Let's put that out of the way. And let's make our other loop. Okay, so I'm going to make another loop. It can go in the same direction as this loop down here. So I'm going to go ahead and bend back my wire to make my loop, because these are crystals and I don't want to run the risk of bending it afterwards and possibly breaking my crystal. It has happened and it is a heart. I have to give it a funeral. Okay, so again, I'm going to go about 1/4 of the way down my pliers, grab the very tip of my wire, and start my loop. It's going to fight you because you're at the very tip. And you just have to keep working with it until it conforms to your will. Okay, here we go. My loop, just keep rotating until I have a closed loop. Here we go. Not quite as upright as I want it to be. So I'm going to go in there with the tip of my pliers and just bend the loop back until it's standing upright, the way I want it. And if the loops don't come out exactly the way you want, this one's nice and flat, this one's kind of leaning up, all you have to do is take your pliers, grab both ends, and give it a twist until they're both laying the way you want. So now they're both perfectly flat, the way I want them to be. Okay, so now we do the other one. I already did some others, just so I wouldn't have to do them all on camera. Go ahead and slide that on. Snip off what I don't need. And a little trusty spool. Snip that off down in there. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. To the side. And make my loop again. Quarter of the way down my pliers. Right on the tip of my wire. And rotate until I have a nice loop. Why do I feel like there's a lot of shadow here? I hope that's not bad. And bend it back. So you can do the bend back in the beginning, or you can do it after you finish, whatever works best for you, whichever works better. So there we go. And there we go. There are our two little links that are going to go in the center. So let's put this together. So all I need to do is open up either the link on my bead or the link on my frame. Slide my bead on, close it up. Same on the other side. Open the link on the bead or the chain, whichever, or frame, whichever you prefer. Just opening it up to the side. Slide my bead on and close it. And let's attach it to the other side. go. Open up my frame here, slide it on my bead, and close. Same thing on the other side. I always like to make sure I check to make sure it's hanging nice and cleanly and not twisted at all. So there we go. And that's just going to go right through there. Open it up. Slide that on and close. And there we have our frame. Isn't that lovely? And now let's put our dangle on. So for that, I need a head pin. Just slide my head pin on my bead or my bead on my head pin, however you look at it. Cut this down to about 3/8 to 1/2 inch so I can make my loop. You can eyeball it if you're familiar enough with how that would look, or you can measure it. Now I have a nice long tail on my head pin, so I can hold on to it with my fingers and snip that off. Get that little excess out of the way and make my loop. I'm going to bend that back and grab my wire, slide it down about 1/4 of the way down my pliers so I can make it a little loop here. Rotate until I have my loop closed. There we go. And now let's open it up. I like to close it all the way and then open it on the side. And I don't have to fiddle with it as much when I go to close it up again. Slide that on my loop. It's not open enough. Slide it on my loop. Close it up. And there it is. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so now let's make our ear wire. So for my ear wire, I need about 2.5 inches of wire because it depends on how long you want your ear wires to be. Okay, and I'm going to show you both of them at the same time. So I've got my 2.5 inches of wire. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a loop on the end. Once you know how to make loops, you can make so many things. So I'm going to slide my pliers down about 1/4 of the way down my, or wire, 1/4 of a way down my pliers, grabbing the tip of my wire, and I'm going to make my little loop. Just rotate until I have it nicely closed. There we go. And this time you can leave it leaning to the side. You don't have to make it an upright loop. This way is just fine. And you go, grab this wire on the tip, rotate until I have my loop. There we go. So there's the beginning. And then I want to make a little slope, a little part, the little U shape that goes in my goes around my earlobe. And for that, it depends on how big you want it to be. You can use the back of your pliers. You can use a small cylindrical item. You can use an ink pen. You can use a pencil, which is what I'm going to use today because that's what I used on my others. So what I want to do is have the loop facing upward or away from the pencil. And I put my pencil on the long part of my wire, just at the base of my loop. And I'm going to wrap the wire around the pencil, just like that. And then I'm just going to use my fingers and make a little gentle curve in my wire. So I've got a nice little slope here. Then I'm going to clip off what I don't want. I don't need it to be too much longer than maybe 3/8 of an inch below my loop, but you can eyeball it and decide how long you want that to be. But too long and it starts to poke the back of my ear. So I'm going to cut off what I don't want. Again, there's that length there. I might be able to hold on to it, but use my little weld here. Snip that off. And then, last but not least, I'm going to put a little ledge at the bottom. And in order to do that, I just grab the very tip of my wire and give it a little turn. And there we have it. There's my ear wire. Now I'm going to make the other one. Same thing. Pencil on the long edge of the long flat edge of my wire, just below my loop. Wrap the wire around my pencil. Okay. We can do better than that. There we go. Now I got a little bit of an edge here. I don't want it to be square. I want it to be round, so I'm going to do that again. So let's put it back in and reshape. There we go. Nice and round. There it is. Now let's make my little slip with my fingers. And so what I'm going to do is put it next to this one so I can make it as close to the same as possible. This is turned a little bit. Now I can see that this one's a little longer than the other one, so let's correct that. Let's go back in with my pencil and just elongate it a little bit. Just do whatever shaping I need to do. Now let's see, there we go, much better. Make my little slip to match the other one. Much better. How's that? Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to clip off what I don't need, just like I did on the other one. Let's see what I don't need here. Okay, snip that off. That excess to the side. Make my little ledge, grabbing the tip of my wire, give it a little, stop it, and give it a little twist. Really? Yeah. There we go. And there are both of my little ear wires. This one looks a little shorter than that one. Can we fix that? Of course we can. It's all of maybe 1/16 shorter, something nobody else would notice, but I noticed. I'm going to snip that off just a little fraction down into my little well and give myself another little wedge. Boop. And there we go. Yay. Now I just need to attach it to my frames. So I'm going to open up my little ear wire, slide it onto the loop of my frame, close it back up, one down. Next one. Open up my ear wire. Slide it onto my loop. And close. And here we have a lovely pair of earrings. Neat, huh? I love it. Love, love, love. Okay, there are my earrings. Yay. And they are really light as a feather. I love them. At least I think I do. I was walking around wearing one of them. Oh, I'm blocky. I was walking around wearing one of them yesterday after I made it. Aren't those pretty? Pretty, pretty. Next set of earrings. Let's put these over here, out of my way. I don't want to go away. There we go. Okay, so let's do these. Yeah, let's do these. So what I did was the first thing I did was I said, let's try a little box. So I just took a little box, as long as it's a squared off edge, and you can just make a triangle. In my case, it's just 2 triangles, and I just cut 2 inches of wire. I didn't want them to be too big. I was trying to go for some small, medium, and long lengths. And I thought that was very pretty. So what we're going to do here, straighten this out a little bit, is cut 2 little half triangles and then put them together. Okay, so what I want to do is just bend this in half. And you know what I found out that works? My ruler. So I've got 2 inches here. I just find the center of my wire, which is about 1 inch, obviously. Put that on the edge of my ruler and bend it over. Bend it over. You can bend it over a box like I did here the first time, or you can bend it over the ruler, and you just want to make a V shape. And you can see one of these is much longer than the other, but it's okay because I was going to have to cut something off anyway. As long as I have about 3/8 of an inch, this is a very small loop that I'm making, about 3/8 of an inch to make my loop. And I do. I have plenty. I can just cut that other one off. I'm going to do the same thing with my other piece of wire. Now, let me give you a tip. If you go exactly at 1 inch, because I have 2 inches here, and fold one side down over the whatever you're making your square with, this side that you're holding at the inch is going to remain an inch. The other side is going to be taking up all of the flack of whatever you're bending it over. So that's going to end up shorter than the other side. This side is exactly an inch. This side is about 7/8. So that's why it's a little shorter. So what you can do, instead of using exactly an inch, slide it up until it's about 7/8 of an inch instead, and then fold this down over, and it won't be quite as uneven. So let's fold that down. See? Ta-da! A little bit uneven, but not like this one. Okay, so now, I love these little things I discover when I'm working. So now I just need to make, because I've already made this, I need to match it up with this one. If you're making them both at the same time, then you can just cut them both down to the same length and not worry about it. So I have to match. So let's see what I have here. There, and I just need about 3/8 of an inch for my loop. I think I have maybe a half. Just a fraction less than a half. So I just need to cut off a little bit of the tip. Just a tiny bit. And the same on the other side. So I cut this down to, it's all about measurements. Cut this down to 7/8 of an inch. I need to do the same thing on the other side. Double check. 7/8 and 7/8. And I want to make sure I turn it back to the flat part of my pliers and put that on the 7/8 mark and snip that off. There we go, there's one. Now this one, I can just match up with it. I can just put them together. And cut it off. There we go. Just two pieces out of the way. Check my length. How are we looking? Not bad. This is a little teeny fraction longer over here. No, it isn't. No, look at that. Really good. Teeny tiny, tiny little fraction of an inch over here that I really don't even need to bother with, but I'm a little anal that way. Gotta go. Okay. All right, so now I just need to make my loops, and they are very small. So I'm going to go a little less than just about 1/8 of an inch down my pliers, and that's my pliers because all pliers are not created equal. So I'm just going to go make a small loop. Just find where you can make it just a really small loop. Find that spot on your pliers and place your wire there. Make sure there's no wire sticking out the back and make your loop. And notice I'm turning my loop out away from the rest of the wire. And the same thing on the other side. Let's make my little loop. There's one V. Let's go to the other one, same thing. About 1/8 of the way from the tip of my pliers and make my little loop. Same thing on the other side. And loop it right over just a fraction, oh, just a fraction more. There we go. And there are my two pieces. And would you look at that? They match up beautifully. I am loving it. Yes. Now we just need to add our little accent beads. And I'm using these little cubed crystals that I found. I've really never seen that before, and I thought they were so cute. So I used round ones on the round pair that we just made, the oval pair, and I thought I'd use square ones on my little diamond shape. So why not? So let's grab one of the eye pins that I made earlier, slide my bead on. Now that we know how to make those, I don't have to do that again. Make my little bend in my wire like we did before. That's a little more than I need. I'm going to cut that down to my 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch, depending on how big you want your loop to be. My safety cut with the excess and make my loop. Doesn't have to be a big loop. It's about the same size as my frame loop. And just rotate until I have a closed loop. Okay, and bend that back until my loop is nice and centered on top of my bead. Turn it until they're both facing the same direction. And there's one. And let's do the second one. Okay, again, I want my loops to go the same direction. And that looks like it's about the right length, so I made that one the proper length this time. And let's rotate until I have a nice closed loop. Ooh, now I can show you something. See how this is, it's got a little bit of a neck there. I don't want that neck. I want it to be nice and flush against my bead. So see how that doesn't have any wire sticking out, and how this has a little bit of a neck down there near the bead. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is take my pliers and I'm going to snip off just a tiny little bit on the inside of my loop right down there near the bottom. So there's the bottom of my loop. I'm going to snip off a tiny little bit, about the same length as the neck that's on that's the excess that I want to get rid of. I'm going to clip that off. Didn't fall off. There it goes. And then I'm going to reclose my loop. That little tail didn't come off. There we go. Go away, go away. I don't want you. So now I have a little opening in my loop, and I'll just close that up, and that should take care of most of, if not all, of that little extra neck that I had there. There we go. Very nice. And now it is time to connect. So I'm going to open up my little loop, slide it on one part of my frame and close. There we go. Let's do the other side. Open it up. Slide it on. And close. Okay. And let's put it on the other side. Open up my frame, slide it on my bead loop, and close. Same thing on the other side. Sure everything's hanging properly. There we go. Open up my frame loop. Slide it on my bead loop. And close. And there we have it. Now all I need to do is make my ear wire. Come on, lay down. There we go. Make my ear wire, grab my little piece of wire. It's 2.5 inches long. Again, we cut some off, so we obviously don't need that much, but it's better to have too much than too little. I'm gonna make my little loop go down about 1/4 of the way down because it doesn't have to be huge. 1/4 of the way down my pliers towards the hilt. Make my loop. There we go. Grab my pencil or whatever cylindrical item you're using to make the part that goes into your ear, the little U shape. Wrap that around, wrap the wire around my little cylindrical item. Put that out. Make whatever adjustments I need to make. It's got a little glitch there, so let's straighten that out. So I don't want it to be, there we go. And then I'm going to use my fingers to make a little slip. Just a little graceful curving there. Like so. Clip off what I don't need, and I'm going to match that up with this one so that they're the same length. Okay. Snip that off. Make my little ledge. And I have an ear wire. And all I need to do is open it up and slide it on either side, either triangle. And because it's nicely V'd up there at the top, I don't even have to worry about having a loop. See, now you're making a fool out of me. Close that up. And here we have earrings. What do you think? I don't even know where I thought this one up. I'm sure somebody's done it, but I just thought if you can make an oval shape, why can't you make a diamond shape? And that's what I did. Yay! I think I'm going to do one more. I don't know how long this video is so far, but hopefully not too long that it'll scare people off. But I do want to do one more really simple one. It is basically this. Just a nice long pair of earrings with two stems extending and connected by a bead. I mean, it's very graceful. It's not anything crazy, and you can determine how long you want it to be. So let's do that. So all I needed for that is 2 pieces of wire, 1.5 inches each. Go. And all I need to do is loop both ends. Determine how big a loop you want. Mine, as usual, is about 1/4 of the way down for my loop for this one. Make sure no wire sticking out the back. Rotate until I have a loop. Closed. Closed. There we go. And then I'm going to put the tip of my pliers in my loop, bend it back until my loop is right extending right on top of my wire. It looks sort of like a little lollipop. There we go. And do the same thing on the other side. My little loop. Oh, first I'm going to measure because I need to make sure it's the same size. So I'm going to check this out. I only need, again, about 3/8 to 1/2 inch, depending on how big your loops are. And I can see that I have at least a good, maybe 5/8 of an inch. So I need to snip some of that off because I don't need that much. Okay. This is where the bottom of my loop is. So I need to snip this down to about, for me, 3/8 of an inch. Measure again, measure, measure, measure. Make sure it's the right length. Yes, very nice. And then I'm going to make my loop. Quarter of the way down my pliers. Rotate until I have a closed loop. Tuck the tip of my wire into my loop and bend it back until I have a little lollipop. Loop on top. Here we go. Yes. See the other one? Make my loop. And my loop back. Bring it up right. Make sure it's closed. There we go. Go to the other side and measure. Snip it down to about 3/8 of an inch, just like I did with this one. Right about there. and make my loop. Okay, upright my loop. There we go. Check my stems, make sure they're about the same. This one looks a little longer, so what am I going to do? I'm going to clip off the inside of one of my loops and reclose. Just getting rid of a little bit of length. That's all. Check it out. Much better. There we go. Okay, so now it's time to add the other components. In this case, I used 6mm bicone in red, my favorite color. Yes. So all I need is one of my already made eye pins, which is just exactly what we did here. We just made eye pins. Same thing, except that we're not putting anything on them. And if you want to be, I usually bead everything up. And so I thought this was a little bit of a novelty to have stems that have no beading on them. And that's why this makes this just a little tiny bit different. Okay, so I'm going to bend my wire back right at the top of my bead, make my loop. Okay, close that up. I'm going to go ahead and attach it. Attach that to one of my stems and close it. And the other one. And you can either open up the bead and attach it, or you can open your other pin and attach it. Either way is fine. Whichever is easiest for you, or I guess I should say easier for you, since there's only the two options. And close it up. Nice. You're almost there. Now we're going to do our last little bit on the bottom. For that we need a head pin. We just slide our bead on. I can find the opening. Where's the hole? This is tiny. This is a little 4mm bicone. And those of you who get kits are going to have, oh, would you look at that? That doesn't want to go on there. It must have a little bend in it. Those of you who get kits will get 4mm bicones, 6mm bicones, and 6mm rondelles, and the little, some of you will get the little square beads, and some of you will just get more rondelles. So you'll get rondelles and cubes, or all rondelles in different sizes. Okay, let's put that on there. This must be drilled really small because it does not want to go on. Look at that. It doesn't want to go on there. So let's find another one. It's either that. I can either find another bead, or I can find another head pin. Either one. Either one works for me. And of course, I knocked all of my beads out of the box. Okay, I have to find another one of these really dark garnet colored. Usually that's cyan. Let's see if that one fits. Yes, it's cooperating. Thank you. You can go back in the box. Oops, get back in there. Do I have enough crystals? All right, so now I need to cut this down to about 3/8 inch like we always do. Got my little bend in there. Cut it down to my little 3/8. Start eyeballing it. There we go. Snip that little tail off. Oop. I've just got so many little ends over there waiting to be thrown away. Make my little loop, just like I've been doing all tutorial. Okay, there we go. Needs a little bit more of a bend back. There. Straighten up the loop a little. Okay, let's open it up. Let's open it on the side. Slide it on one of my pins. Close it up. Make that nice and tight. Wanting spaces. And last but not least, let's make our last ear wire. We're going to be experts at these ear wires by the time we're finished. Do I need to walk you through it? Sure, why not? Okay, so about 1/4 of the way down towards the hilt of my pliers, I'm going to make my little loop again, making sure that nothing is sticking out the back. And then my wire should be poking out the back because I want a nice round loop, not an oval shaped one. There we go. Grab my pencil. Wrap my wire around the pencil to make a loop. It's kind of a U shape. Okay, open that up a little bit. And make my little slope. Just kind of curve it a little bit with my fingers. And let's match it up with the other one. There we go. Yes. Snip off the excess, which in this case is a good 1/2 inch or so. That's okay. Snip that off. Take my pliers and make my little wedge. Oop. A little bit more. Oop. There we go. A little overzealous with my wedge. There it is. And you know what? Let's look. This one looks a little shorter. No, not much. A little tiny bit. Oh, no, yeah, no, they're fine. Okay, so now I just need to attach my ear wire to my ear ring. Close it up. Now, what you want to do when you make your own ear wires, before you put this in your ear, you want to shape this. So what I do is just take a regular emery board and just shape it, kind of round out the edges so that it's not all sharp and going to do your ear damage. So you just want to round that out with some, say you can use sandpaper. I just use an emery board, same thing. Use an emery board and kind of round that out so that it's nice and ready to go in your ear without doing any damage. And then there, ladies and gents, is my last pair of earrings. Isn't that awesome? Don't you just love to be able to make your own earrings? And every single piece of every little component you make, every single bit, you made it. Where is the other pair? One doesn't want to lay flat. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Come on. Oh, this one looks, oh, this one looks a little longer. I'm going to have to fix that. Yeah, one's a tiny bit shorter than the other one. I like the longer one. So I'm going to leave the other one. And anyway, here's the other one. That's why it's so neat to make them together at the same time. And then that way you don't have to worry about one ending up one length and one ending up the other length. You just have them all done at the same time. There we are. There's our earrings. 3 nice pairs of earrings made entirely by you. We don't have any prefab components on these ear wires, except for the head pin. That's it. Everything else we did. We deserve a round of applause, and we deserve to wear our earrings. Matter of fact, let me take these off that I'm wearing and put one of these on because I want to. Let's see. I'm wearing a kind of a purple lilac-y top. So the only ones I think will go with them are these. I haven't rounded this out, so I have to be very careful about my ears. I don't need to puncture myself. Okay, there we go. This one I did round out because I did this one yesterday. Okay, so there we go. And let's take a peek at what we have in the big camera. What do you think? I like them a whole lot. Aren't those neat? I really like them. Up there, beside your sister. Aren't they neat? I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. Stop moving because I'm sure that's coming across as very blurry. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our tutorial for today. It's always fun making earrings, but it's really fun when I can take something that I just saw a picture of and say, oh, let's do that. And then try to figure out how we can do that. That's part of the design process. Sometimes it's not as successful as others. I've gone through a lot of wire trying to emulate the patterns and scrolls on my wrought iron headboard of my bed. I haven't figured that one out yet. There's some really beautiful scroll work that I'm all over. And so I just take pieces of it and I go, oh, we'll use this part. And we'll make something out of that. We'll do that part and make something out of that. There are some of them, there's a spiral that I'm trying to figure out how to do. Anyway, sleepless nights because I'm trying to figure out how to make my headboard into earrings or a necklace or a pendant or something. Craziness. But that's, that's the world of design. Anyway, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you'll come back. And if you have any questions or comments or want to send pictures, which I would love for you to do, please feel free to send them to me at jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20 at gmail.com. Or you can put them on the DeKalb County Library Facebook page, which is Facebook. I think it's facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's it. Facebook.com/DeKalb Library. And you can find the corresponding video tutorial and put your pictures in the comments. We would love to see them. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I hope to see you on the next tutorial that we do. And until then, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.